Yes, we are recording. Bill Apter down here in one section of Apter's Alley. And, you know, back in the magazine days, we used to come up with these spectacular headlines that mimicked, like, the National Enquirer, the New York Post at times. And when I saw what happened a week or two ago with Al Snow about him being incarcerated, I said, you know what? This is like a good old school magazine story. So first of all, Al Snow, welcome to the Apter Chat.
Thank you very much, Bill, for having me. And I feel very honored to be one of those major headlines like back in the day.
So what I want to do now is just like in the old magazine days, you know, we'd sit and try and come up with a good juicy headline for the cover. So now we read about this whole thing, and we're not going to tell everybody the story yet, but we need a juicy headline for the cover. And since this happened to you, and you're one of the most clever, innovative people I've ever met in or out of this business, what? Give me the headline that's going to grab everybody.
Maybe Al Snow was sent up the river. Al Snow and his time in Sing Sing. Al Snow and how he learned to shank people.
Wait a minute. Let's just. What is shank?
You know, that's what you do in the prison yard. You know, you sharpen up a spoon or a screwdriver or something. You know, right in the back. And
I was going to
go to the light.
I was going to suggest Al Snow arrested, the real story.
Oh, yeah, but that's not nearly as exciting as Al Snow and his time on The Rock. And I don't mean like The Rock.
Well, no, we can't go there. This is a PG show.
That'd be a little weird.
Yeah. By the way, before we talk about this whole thing, he was joking on Saturday Night Live, people. Well, we kind of took. He's saying that he may actually be interested in running for president. Now, I never talk politics on this show, but The Rock,
he would win without a question or a doubt.
Yeah. The popular vote for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I don't see how. I'm sure he would probably go with the Democratic Party, and there'd be no way that they would turn him away.
Who's the vice president?
I don't know. I don't know who he would pick as vice president, because I know that, you know, one of the things that they're going to use against him is his lack of political experience. So he would probably have to go and get a legitimate contender as far as for the vice presidential candidacy that would actually have some kind of chops as far as.
So if Linda McMahon decides to start teaching her husband, and he decides to change parties, I can't believe we're talking this. Can you see him as the vice president? Well, let's go to Russia and see what they're doing.
No, I can't never see Ms. McMahon as the vice president of anything. He's going to either be the president or he's not going to be.
You're right. You're absolutely right. All right. Yeah. So, but we'll, as they say, we'll have to, the cliche, we'll see what happens. So let's get back to your story now. So first of all, we need to see your profile so we can see what those pictures looked like. Do you remember the number that was underneath you?
No, I didn't get to see a number. They just made me stand against the wall and took the pictures.
So tell us, you know, I've seen a lot of text written on a lot of websites and stuff, but I wanted to get the real juicy story. You were arrested. What happened?
It's not juicy. There's nothing salacious, nothing exciting.
Well, then we're done. Thank you, Al Snow.
I really wish there was, almost, you know, like it was something exciting, like I was caught robbing a bank, or, you know, wrestlers have all had their troubles over the years and have had their run-ins with the law and everything like that. But
wait, in the wrestling business?
Yeah, in the wrestling business.
Shocking.
Come on.
Really?
Yeah, I'm stunned. It's just aghast, amazed, astounded.
So what happened to you?
Here's what happened. Several years ago, I was pulled over on a routine stop. They pulled me over because my headlight was out in an old car I had.
And where was this, by the way?
This was in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And I didn't know that the headlight was out because I had just gotten it replaced.
Well, wait a minute. Well, piece by piece here. Had you thought for a moment when you were pulled over that this could have involved a prank by Jim Cornette, who was in Louisville?
No.
Okay,
No,
go
not
ahead.
at the time.
Go
No.
ahead.
So, and to just go so everybody's aware, I have two brothers that are both retired police officers. My stepfather was a retired police officer, so I'm always supportive of the police and everything like that. They've got a very tough job. I'm not condemning uh, uh, much of anything with the situation with them. It
Yeah,
just happened.
right.
So
They're doing their
I,
job.
yeah, I do condemn the clerical error that caused it all. But um, so anyways, I got pulled over for a headlight that I didn't know was out.
Okay.
It turned out the connector was bad, and they gave me a ticket for the headlight and said, "Hey, all you have to do is get it fixed. Bring down proof that to the courthouse that you got it fixed. Everything's fine." I said, "Okay." So I get the headlight fixed, go down to the courthouse, show them where I got it fixed, and then I figured the thing's done. It's over with.
Yeah, sure.
So, well, apparently somebody failed to record the fact that I came in and showed the proof, or I don't know what happened, but there was no evidence that I had actually turned up and shown where I had taken care of the headlight. So they had issued a bench warrant for me for basically contempt of court because I didn't show up and do what I was instructed to do. And I have not known about this, didn't know it existed for years. Fast forward, um, I'm having an issue with my car. It's a little sensor on the car. It doesn't go. It goes out. Doesn't allow the car to run. Um, my kids and I are driving back from the gym after we'd worked out,
How many kids?
and two,
And how old are they?
19 and 14.
Okay.
The 14-year-old was with me at the time, and the 19-year-old was with his mom. And the car shut off in the middle of the road, just past a entrance to a gas station. And I'm trying to start, it wouldn't start. So I'm on the phone calling AAA to get it towed, because I'd already made a appointment the next day with the dealership to get it, and I was going to get it towed directly there. And a sheriff's deputy pulls up, hits his siren, hits his lights, asks me if I need help. I'm like, that's a little bit much to hit your siren and your lights, but okay. I said, no, I don't need it. I've called AAA, and I'm waiting on my son to get over here to walk over. He's going to help me push it back into the gas station out of the road, and we'll just wait for the tow truck.
Right.
Oh, okay. When my son showed up, we pushed the car back, and as soon as we got it back in, here come two police officers. Here comes the sheriff's deputy back up. They surround me. The police officer asks for my ID, runs my ID, says, "Sir, you've got a warrant out for your arrest. I need to take you in." I'm like, "What?" He goes,
Really?
"Yeah, you've got to, And I said, "Well, what was it for?" And the headlight. And at first he says the headlight, then he acts like he doesn't know what it is. I said, "Okay, what do I need to do?" He goes, "Well, hand your stuff over to your son." I did, and he proceeds to put my hands behind my back, handcuffs me,
They cuffed you?
put me in the back of the car. And the only issue I have is they left my kids standing there in the parking lot by themselves with no adult supervision, and took me with no explanation, nothing. I couldn't call their mother, nothing. Took me right downtown and left them standing there. So luckily she was only just a short distance away, and she was able to come right over. But with no concern for them whatsoever, they just put me in the car and took me off.
Wow. So
And
so now you've seen this in the movies 1,000 times. A guy gets cuffed and thrown into the
oh yeah,
What did that feel like, having your hands
oh,
cuffed
it was
behind you?
it hurt like
Yeah.
crazy. It was so painful.
You have big wrists?
all the wrestling. It's hard to put my hands behind my back.
Sure.
So I told the guy, I said, "Please, can you just handcuff me in the front?" He said, "Nope, can't do it. I got to leave your hands behind your back." And took me he said, "As soon as we get downtown, we figure all this out, I'll let you go." I go, "Can you go as fast as you can?" So he takes me downtown. We get out, get into the jail.
Siren on while he was taking you down?
No, he didn't put the siren on. We get to the jail. I'm just like, we got in. he had to help me out of the car. I couldn't get out of the car, and I said, could you please take these off now? He goes, oh, you're not going to give me any trouble, are you? And I was like, are you kidding me? I haven't given you any trouble through this whole time.
Did he know
Why?
who you are in the wrestling business?
I think one or two of them did. I think so, but they didn't acknowledge it. And I just found it absurd they would even ask me that question, because I was like, if I've not given you any trouble, why would I now choose to give you trouble
Right,
once
exactly.
I'm locked in a jail and you've got more officers with more weapons, and now I'm going to do something crazy? It made no sense. So, I just quietly said, please, take them off. And I just sat there for about an hour and a half. Again, like I said, it's not that very exciting. I had to pay a $234 bond, but not until they booked me, fingerprinted me, and took my pictures, which I knew the minute they took the pictures it was going to end up on the internet. And that was why I had such an angry look on my face, a disgusted look, because I was like, this is going to get blown way out of proportion.
Oh, of course. And were you put in a jail cell?
No, unfortunately I wasn't. There were plenty of inmates there. But,
unfortunately, you weren't.
But I got to tell you, I did sign the guest book, and I gave them a 5-star rating on their very attentive and personal service that they gave me the entire time I was there.
Where did you do that? Online? You go in and how were you treated?
Well, yeah, just right there. They have a guest book like any good facility. Yeah. And you just sign that and leave a little comment.
And this is in Louisville?
No, this was in Winchester, Kentucky. It's a very small suburb town of Lexington, and that was really probably part of the issues that it was. Because I've spoken to several police officers that have reached out via the internet, and my own older brother, who was a police officer, and he said for bench warrant like that, they would 9 times out of 10 they could just simply have you bond out right there. They find out the amount, and just have you go over to the ATM and draw the money out and give it to them.
Right.
And you're done. They don't need to arrest you. But it's a small town.
Like in those movies.
Yeah. So what do you do?
You go along.
So there was no gunfights. There was no me picking up a big boulder and throwing it through the window of McDonald's.
Ooh.
No.
Wasn't
no
that Ken Patera and Mr. Saito?
Yeah. Mr. Saito, yeah.
Can't believe I can't remember what I did this morning, but I remember that.
We can remember that, yeah.
Yes.
There was none of that. There was no shenanigans. It was just the car broke down, and then they found out I had a bench warrant.
So how did they drive you home?
No. My fiance showed up and picked me up, and we took off. So
wow.
I had to pay the $234 and release me, and then I just drove home. That was it.
So how long does this follow you on your permanent record?
Well, now I'll have unless I can get it expunged, which I can go, of course it's all money, so I can go through the expense of paying an attorney to get it expunged off of my record where they booked me, and I now have a arrest record. The sergeant told me it would be 5 years.
5 years. So did you get I forgot to ask you this, did you get you have the right to remain silent?
None of that, no.
Really?
Didn't even get read my Miranda rights. No,
wow.
I just handcuffed, tossed in the car, spirited away down to the jail.
Now, can this impact, I said impact, yes, but can this impact your trips overseas?
No, it's not a felony or anything like that. It's not a federal offense or a felony or anything like that of that nature. It's not even a misdemeanor. It was just a bench warrant.
So this could be a whole new gimmick for you because you could come to the ring holding a spotlight.
I could be the new Kevin Kelly. I could be the new convict.
Wow. The original Kevin Kelly, by the way, for you people who think it's Ring of Honor, the broadcaster,
right.
Not the same guy. Look up the convict, Kevin Kelly.
Well,
I'm glad to see.
Vince McMahon would want that, but
I don't. Unquestionably not. So now that we've talked about this and you're out and life has returned to normal.
I'm back. Well, it's an adjustment, Bill. Once you've been in the big house, you can't just come back out into civilian population, and just pick up where you left off.
I understand that.
You got to now rebuild your life, Bill. You can't. You keep putting stir, you're setting out the river. It's not that simple as you just walk back out You just resume living.
Did you feel like James Cagney? Oh, you coppers! You didn't feel like anything.
I'm basically an ex-con now.
So how are you rebuilding your life?
Well, starting slowly, trying to earn my family's trust again. That's been damaged, of course, and I've got to try to start applying for menial jobs and things like that, because it's going to be tough to hire a convict. It's not going to be that simple.
It is, and we couldn't have written what you just said. We could have had you on the staff back in the days of the magazines.
I'm a dangerous criminal, man.
Obviously.
Yeah, this is not somebody. I'm not somebody you want to mess with.
We would have probably kept you out of the rankings for 5 years too.
I'm going to get a teardrop tattoo now.
So, that's good. That's good. Yeah. But we probably would have kept you out of the rankings until you got this expunged. You realize
You'd have to.
So on to good stuff.
Yes.
On to good stuff. Tell us how things are going with you with Impact Wrestling. I mean,
things are going great.
Yeah, Anthem Entertainment is already making quite a difference in the product.
Yeah, they are, and I'm very optimistic. They've brought in, which is always good, freshening up the talent roster and creating new directions and new stories and a new approach, and there's a very positive vibe with the locker room and with production and just in general. I mean, it's a very it's in a very good place right now. It's in a rebuilding situation, but very good place.
A renaissance going on.
Yeah.
Are there two or three? Are there 2 or 3 guys that you look at in particular that you enjoy working with in terms of training them and et cetera, and giving advice to?
Oh yeah, I really enjoy working with Trevor Lee and it went right out of my head. His name works in the X Division. A lot of the X Division guys I really enjoy working with.
Yeah.
Caleb Conley and I enjoy Bobby Lashley. I think he's found his own voice finally.
Yes.
And his own identity. And I think he could be big money. I think he could be someday in the future be a money employment for Brock Lesnar.
Wow, that would be incredible.
I really do, because he now knows who he is, and as well as I do, Bill. That's the most important thing for a professional wrestler, is to have their own voice, their own identity, to know who they really are and what works for them and why it works.
Yeah, because there's so many wrestlers, even that have been wrestling 10, 11 years, who are always thinking about what the other guy did, and boy, I could probably do that. Not their own identity. You have to, be yourself.
Yeah. And you've really got to focus on that. And I think Bobby's finally found that key. EC3, I think, remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
Rockstar Spud, great talent. There's a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm favoring somebody or leaving somebody out, because Braxton Sutter has gotten an opportunity and is really doing very well with it. Very charismatic. Allie, and Laurel Van Ness, fantastic, performers.
What
really
about
great.
the heat between Josh Matthews and
Jeremy Borash?
Jeremy Borash, yeah.
JB. Yeah. Well, Josh he's a good kid, and I've known him since Tough Enough 1. But
right.
Josh can rub people the wrong way. If you don't know Josh, he can kind of, he's got the personality of about 100 grit sandpaper. He can start to get a little abrasive. So that's
a compliment, right?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about: you do so many overseas trips, and WrestleMania weekend, we both got to see our friend, the promoter from Qatar, Ali Marafi.
Yes, Ali Marafi.
Yeah, and tell it. People can't imagine that. People like you travel everywhere around the world. What makes the wrestling where Ali promotes in Dubai so very special?
Well, Ali Ali promotes not only in Dubai but in Qatar.
Yes.
He's also promoted in Sudan.
I meant to say Qatar, actually.
Yeah, but he promotes throughout the Middle East, and Ali runs a very first-rate, absolutely professional show. Brings in top-notch talent from quite literally all over the world. He brings in, guys from Vienna and Austria and England and then also the United States as
He
well.
had Sting over there on the last show.
Had Sting over there on the last show, had Brian Cage, had Alofa Fatu, had Rey Mysterio, Carlito Colon,
Al Snow.
El Patron, Al Snow, Apollo, and myself are now the QBW tag team champions.
Yeah, I had just read that recently, so that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're also going to the United Kingdom quite a bit.
Yeah, I have a wrestling academy there, Al Snow's Wrestling Academy.
Mm-hmm.
It's located in London. We're doing fantastic, and we are trying to do something different where we are branching out with affiliates in other places. We have two, one in the Midlands and one in Cheshire there in the UK, and then we have one in Portugal, one in Romania, one in Greece, one in Italy, and we're working on one right now in Chile. We just got another association with one in Denmark as well.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, and where I've put together a syllabus. We have 3 classes, beginners, intermediate, and advanced, where I lay out exactly what is to be taught, why it's to be taught, so that you learn what you need to learn so that you can now learn the next level, because to have the best understanding of what it is you're truly trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hand select the trainers at each of the academies, and to ensure that everyone teaches exactly philosophically the same thing. And some mechanical things, very basic mechanical things. But then we can have, my goal is to then be able to allow all the academies to interchange students from Chile to the UK, from the UK to Romania, from Romania to Greece, around, so that you could get exposed to different trainers and different styles.
Yeah.
Just like in the UK, we have Doug Williams and we have James Mason, who are 2 of the trainers, along with Bad Bones, John Klinger, and each have their own way of doing things, but philosophically, we're all on the same page.
Doug Williams should be world champion somewhere, by the way. When I first saw him wrestle, it was Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah, he should. I mean, he's unquestionably he's fantastic, and I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have him as a part of the academy. So,
and I know that
just to lend his expertise.
I know that at various times in both Qatar and England and so many other places, our dear friend who is a super agent and incredible referee, Steve Linsky, is on a lot of these tours with you.
Yeah. Steve is a great friend, and he is working with me at the academy, and also Steve and I are trying to work on something right now to open up and create an academy in Egypt. So
wow, that'll be amazing. I might be able to come and see you over in England in October. I'm negotiating with a promoter right now toward the end of October about possibly working on a show there. So I want to come in and see the place and show all you guys.
Welcome.
Well, I can teach all you guys how to do Jerry Lewis imitations.
I'd love for you to be there and teach them anything, because
part of the curriculum.
You have a ton of knowledge and information. So
I would. We will definitely talk about that. Social media. Where can people find information first about the academy?
At alsnowacademyuk.com is the website, and then it's Al Snow Academy on both Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then you can also follow me at The Real Al Snow, because there were some fake ones, which I messaged them and was like, listen, if you're going to fake being a celebrity, why don't you aim higher? Just,
You know what? As soon as you did that, I took down that account, okay? I'm sorry.
I know. Well, just be like Jerry Lewis or somebody that, is a little more famous.
Yes, sir.
But I'm The Real Al Snow on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and, come follow me. And I always put up fun stuff and
Yeah, you do.
interesting
You
stuff.
do. And I've always had, every time I see you, we have a really good time. And
Yep.
I always test him on the Jerry Lewis memory test.
1 hen, 2 ducks.
3 squawking geese, 4 limerick
4
oysters.
limp oysters. 5 corpulent porpoises. 6
6
pairs of down bears, those tweezers. 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array. 8 brass monkeys from the ancient secret sacred crypts of Egypt. 9 apathetic, sympathetic, diabetic old men on roller skates who have a marked propensity towards procrastination and sloth. 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the depths who haul, stall, crawl around the corner of the quay of the quarry all at the same time.
I lip sank most of that with you. Al Snow, a pleasure to have you with us. And anything that you didn't get in here that, or do you have to be taken back to your to your cell?
I think it's chow time. I think we're going to go to the mess hall, there in the prison.
Well, that's good.
I'd like
Before
to
you
say
do
that I
that,
fought the good fight, but against the Sallies, but it didn't happen.
well, before you do that, are your headlights working?
Yes, believe me, I make sure that everything is working on that car right
All
now.
right.
I'm very paranoid.
Bill Apter with Al Snow. Oh, wait a minute. Whatever
Yes.
happened to Head? People.
Oh, heads here. They're taking a nap.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
They've been training very hard.
Send our regards, please. We'll see you at the matches. All right. So right now, this is just a test recording. So while we're testing, I don't know if I ever asked you this question.
What?
Is wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it was broken.